Now, you might associate parental guidance stickers with film covers or music posters, you know, the kind of thing. However, think about this. Seemingly, some greeting card shops are slapping these signs on the front doors to warn customers about the risky or rude cards that may lie within. The retailer Scribbler has 35 shops across the UK and each and every one has a PG sign. But what do you make of the message? Should a birthday card come with a warning? And what is behind the boom in this kind of risky greeting card industry? I have to say, I've not been the recipient of one of these cards, but my birthday's coming up, so you never know what's going to happen. Anyway, I'm joined this morning by Sharon Little, who is the CEO of the Greeting Card Association. Sharon, good morning.
Good morning.
And we're also joined by lecturer in marketing, retailing and consumer studies at Queen Margaret University, Mike Precious. Good morning.
Good morning.
And etiquette coach Penny Edge, chatting to all of you. Sharon, first of all, a PG warning on the front of a retailer that sells blinking birthday cards. What's the world come to?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. What is the world coming to? But I think there are some more humour cards on the market that some people find offensive. A lot of people love them and love to buy them, but some people do find them offensive. And so some retailers have taken to putting warnings on the window just so that the customers know when they come into the shops that there are some risque cards inside. Right,
this is a family show, so tone it down. But if you can, describe some of the cards we're talking about.
Well, these are cards that are designed to be quite shocking and to provoke humour in that way. So they will have swearing on, they'll have some rude imagery. I find them absolutely hilarious. I think they're really funny, but some people don't. So I think it's right that the retailers should put them on the higher shelves so that small children can't see them, and also warn people if they're going into the shop. But that being said, rude humour isn't new. We've always loved a bit of smut. It's kind of part of the British culture. I mean, going back to Donald McGill and all the saucy seaside postcards and Wicked Willie in the 1980s. Who remembers him? I think, if customers... Retailers want their customers to be happy and they want them to buy cards, which they do in their millions. So I completely understand if they want to start putting a PG sign in the window. OK, Mike, in you come, lecturer in marketing, retailing, consumer studies at Queen Margaret University. Is this just nothing more than a gimmick? Do you think this is an excessive stance by these retailers, a PG warning sticker on the front of a greeting card shop, for crying out loud?
I think it is a little bit excessive, but I quite applaud the various companies that have done this in the sense that it's more likely to attract additional visitors than put them off, and that would probably include a number of people that maybe shouldn't be actually looking at the cards. But I think that the view of the Greetings Card Association and others is right, that there should be some potential warning of some description. I think whether it's on the outside of the shop or indeed inside, the possibility of putting the cards slightly higher up and away from very small eyes is certainly a possibility.
Do you think that we really are that offended? I mean, we heard there from Sharon saying she finds these cards quite humorous, quite funny. Are they really that offensive?
It's a good question. I don't care for the cards, but having said that, I don't find them particularly offensive. I find them, as the analogy with seaside postcards was quite a good one. I think the humour is pretty base and it's not very sophisticated in a lot of cases. But there is an audience for that, but I don't think it's a universal audience, if you like. I mean, I think that the point about most of the cards, though, is that the imagery is not necessarily over the top. I mean, certainly you're not looking at gratuitous, sexualised, pornographic type imagery on them. A lot of it is about the wordplay, and some of it occasionally there are swear words, or there are words that are in common use, but are not necessarily not positive, if you like.
OK. Penny, I hope this hasn't had you reaching for the smelling salts. You're an etiquette coach. What's behind these risky cards? Why do we send these risky cards? Is it to shock? Is it to offend? Or is it to make someone laugh?
I would say it would be to make somebody laugh, but I think you have to be careful of the recipient. You can't assume that everybody has your sense of humour. And I agree with your First Lady that spoke about having them on a higher shelf. I think that's a good idea. But it'd be interesting to know the statistics of people who buy them and who don't, so whether it's like 80-20 or 20-80. But it will offend some people, and yes, I could be offended, but I think it detracts from the message of sending a birthday card and writing a nice message in them, as opposed to just relying on the picture to send your good regards.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I mean, Sharon Little, that's a perfectly valid point. You've got to think of the person that you're actually going to be sending it to, isn't it? Don't you?
And that's what we all do when we send a card. We really think about the person that we're going to send it to. And it's a mark, actually, of your intimacy with that person, how well you know them, that you know that they would really actually love that card. So if you both share that type of humour, it strengthens your bond.
Do you know, I don't want to even make the suggestion, but perhaps we now need to have PG stickers on envelopes before we actually open the cards. Do you know, I think this is
a good idea.
This is maybe getting, or actually just have a card with a PG sticker in the front. There we go. That'll certainly get people opening it up. I mean, at the end of the day, is this just a fashion? When I, used to buy cards, I love getting cards with, scenes of Scotland with lochs and mountains and cuddly kittens in the front.
I agree.
Maybe I need to update the type of cards I'm actually sending. Nevertheless, do you know what? I actually opened a Valentine's card today. It's been sitting in the BBC studios for weeks, and I have to say it was entirely clean. If the sender out there is listening, thank you very much. You made this 50-year-old woman's day, I have to say. Penny, when it comes down to it, do you think we're just being a little bit precious?
I think there'll always be people that will say yay, and there'll always be people that say nay. So I think we just need to make sure they're out of the reach of the children, and just be careful when we're sending them to, as long as it's with a good start. I think that's the main thing. OK, Sharon, the cynical question to you, is this not because the greeting card industry is perhaps in a bit of a downturn and it wants to kind of give it a kick start? Is that not really what's behind all this, a little bit of publicity?
A downturn. We're buying more cards than ever. The industry's worth £1.7 billion in the UK. I don't think so. People love cards. In fact, we send more cards per person than any other nation.
OK, well, to Mike, to Sharon and to Penny, many thanks indeed for joining us. Lots of love, big kisses. There we go. No offence, no PG sticker required. It's lovely having you on BBC Radio Scotland.